Okay, good morning to all. So today we will continue with our previous remaining topic, and that is nothing but the effect of negative feedback on the various parameters of an amplifier. So our today's discussion or objective that will be based on the remaining parameters. Hope so. We will cover it today only. So yesterday we already covered about the effect of that negative feedback on the first parameter of that amplifier, and that is nothing but the transfer gain. Okay, so yesterday we already derived the relation between the transfer gain of that amplifier with and without feedback, and concluded that the gain gets reduced by using negative feedback in the amplifier circuit. And mathematically we derived that relation, that is the gain with feedback, that is AF equals to A by 1 plus beta A, where AF, it is nothing but the gain with feedback, A, it is the open loop gain, that means without feedback, and beta, it is the feedback factor, which lies always between 0 to 1. Then the second parameter also we discussed, and that is nothing but stability of gain. By change in temperature, we observe that there is variation in gain. So if negative feedback is not there, then the variation in gain due to the variation in temperature, it occurs much more as compared to with feedback. Okay, so yesterday already we discussed about this fractional change in gain with feedback and without feedback, and we derived the relation between these two as dAf by AF equals to dA by A into 1 by 1 plus beta times of A. And from this equation, we concluded that the fractional change in gain with feedback, it is small as compared to the fractional change in gain without feedback, right? Then within the same factor, we discuss two more points, and that is nothing but the sensitivity of transfer gain. It is the ratio of fractional change in gain with feedback divided by the fractional change in gain without feedback. And at the end, we got that sensitivity of transfer gain, which is denoted by S, is equals to 1 by 1 plus beta A. And one more term, that is the desensitivity of transfer gain, which is nothing but the reciprocal of sensitivity, and hence that D, capital D, that is the desensitivity of that transfer gain is 1 plus beta A simply. So up to over here, yesterday we discussed, we observed the effect of that negative feedback on these two parameters, that is transfer gain and stability of gain. So under the stability of gain parameter, we concluded that the stability gets improved when negative feedback is used. Now the next parameter that today we have to discuss, and that is nothing but the effect of that negative feedback on the frequency response and bandwidth. Uh, some more point yesterday related to this also we discussed. I shown two frequency responses. One was with feedback and another one was without feedback. And I also shown like this. So from this graph, graphically, we can say, as we know, there is decrease in gain by negative feedback. The green colored, that curve, that is for without feedback, and red color one, this is for with feedback. So from these two curves, you will observe the midband gain of that amplifier, it gets decreased. And the same first parameter we yesterday already derived. We observe the change in gain, how much it occurs, right? And the same yesterday also I shown on the blackboard graphically. So see, in this case, by this graphical representation, you will observe the lower cutoff frequency of the amplifier without feedback. It is somewhat more as compared to lower cutoff frequency of the same amplifier with negative feedback, right? 3 dB bandwidth and all that. Yesterday also we discussed. So without feedback, that bandwidth is simply fH minus fL, that is higher cutoff frequency minus lower cutoff frequency. Okay. Or it is simply the difference between two cutoff frequencies of that amplifier. And if negative feedback is used, as we know, the midband gain, it gets reduced sufficiently small, and hence, as per this graphical representation, you will observe that FLF, that is lower cutoff frequency with feedback, it is somewhat less as compared to without feedback, right? And about the FHF, as per this graphical representation again, that higher cutoff frequency it increases as compared to higher cutoff frequency without feedback. So FHF it is greater than FH and FLF it is less than FL. So the bandwidth with negative feedback we can simply determine the bandwidth with feedback equals to again the same difference between higher cutoff frequency and lower cutoff frequency with feedback. That means it will be FHF minus FLF. Okay, and here also you can easily compare between the difference between that bandwidth with and without feedback, and here we can conclude bandwidth with feedback it is much more as compared to bandwidth without feedback, correct? And the same thing mathematically today we will go on to discuss, right? Yesterday up to this we derived that is the first parameter of that amplifier, and that is gain with feedback equals to, or the relation between gain with feedback and without feedback. That is AF, this first equation, that is AF equals to A divided by 1 plus beta A. Okay. So you just have to remember few points while deriving this relation between that or the effect on that cutoff frequencies. So using this our first derived equation, we can easily write AF mid equals to A mid divided by 1 plus beta A mid. Okay. Now see how I derived it or how I written it. Okay. As we know that A equals to A divided by 1 plus beta A. Okay. This is the generalized equation. Okay. This first one, whatever I written, that is AF dash mid. It stands for, it is related to mid-band frequency range. That means where we are getting that AV as AV max. Okay. That means it will be, in general, we can say between FL and FH. This AF mid, it is nothing but it is related to the gain of that amplifier with negative feedback and the input signal frequencies between FL to FH. That's why it is titled as mid band, and its abbreviation I simply written it as mid. So this is the gain of that amplifier with negative feedback and at which range, that is at mid band frequency range. That means over where we are getting almost a constant gain or almost maximum gain. Okay. Then next formula I written that is related to low frequency side, and that's why I written it as the gain with negative feedback but at low frequency, and that's why F low equals to, using the same formula, that is A divided by 1 plus beta A, only that A I replace it A low because our discussion is for low frequency side, and hence the same formula I can write, that is gain with feedback at low frequency equals to gain at low frequency and without feedback divided by 1 plus beta A low. And similarly at high frequency side also, the same formula we can write, that is AF high equals to A high divided by 1 plus beta A high. Okay, is it okay up to over here? Any doubt? Am I audible properly? Is it visible properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it okay up to over here? See this formula A equals to A divided by 1 plus beta A. Yesterday we already derived it, right now. So by using the same formula, just we have to write the equations related to low frequency side, mid-band frequency range and high frequency side. In formula we can write like this. So you have to remember this one. Okay. Now the first parameter under this frequency response and bandwidth that we will be going to discuss the effect of negative feedback on lower cutoff frequency of that amplifier. As per that graphical representation just I shown, see these two are the lower cutoff frequency SLF and LL. Here what is the conclusion? Lower cutoff frequency with feedback it is less as compared to lower cutoff frequency without feedback, and the same we have to derive, we have to show mathematically. Okay. Now again few formulas you have to remember because that derivation part is not there and it is somewhat complicated. So I will suggest you just remember few tricks or few formulas. The ratio of gain of that amplifier without feedback at low frequency side with respective to mid-band gain. That means A low divided by A mid equals to, I directly written this formula, one is somewhat complex, that is 1 by 1 minus J FL by F. Okay, you have to remember this one. And hence, by this first one, we can write A low equals to, just take this A mid towards RHS side so that it will become A low, that is gain of that amplifier without feedback at low frequency side, that will equals to gain at mid-band frequency divided by 1 minus J FL by F as it is. Okay. Now the next step is, as just I have shown, AF low equals to, we already written this one, AF low equals to A low divided by 1 plus beta A low. So you just have to replace that A low. Okay. So what is A low? A low is nothing but A mid divided by 1 minus J FL by F. So replace this numerator term as well as the denominator where that A low is present. So A mid by 1 minus J FL by F total divided by 1 plus beta as it is, and replace this A low by A mid by 1 minus J FL by F. Right. And when you will rearrange all these terms, you will observe that AF low equal to, that is gain with feedback at low frequency side equals to gain at mid-band frequency without feedback divided by 1 plus A mid into beta minus JFL by F, where this FL is nothing but it is the lower cutoff frequency without feedback, and F is nothing but the frequency at which we are observing that effect or the input signal frequency. Okay. Okay. Now just divide numerator and denominator as I written 1 plus A mid into beta, so that you will get that AF low, the same previous step, that is AF low equals to whatever we got, that is A mid divided by 1 plus A mid into beta minus JFL by F. So dividing that numerator and denominator by 1 plus A mid beta factor, you will get at the end this equation. Okay. And one more term I mentioned here, as we already written at the start only, that is AF mid equals to A mid divided by 1 plus beta A mid. So you can replace this one, and at the end, see, just a minute, 1 plus A mid into beta, okay, into F. So see over here, A mid divided by 1 plus A mid into beta minus JFL by F. What is A mid? That A mid I mentioned. Okay. So when you will do actual paperwork, whenever you will just arrange all these terms, so you will get that AF low divided by AF mid equals to 1 by 1 minus J Now I written here FLF, one more term. Okay, what is FLF? I taken this ratio, that is FL by 1 plus A into beta. I consider it as FLF. Okay, and remaining that F at denominator as it is. Is it okay? See, replace this FL by 1 plus A mid into beta as FLF. I mention it, I highlighted over here. FLF equals to what? That is FL divided by 1 plus A mid into beta. This much ratio, I replace it by FLF. So the same equation will become as by taking that AF mid towards LHS. So AF low divided by AF mid equals to 1 by 1 minus J FLF by F. Okay. And from this formula, you will observe this FLF, it is nothing but the lower cutoff frequency with feedback equals to lower cutoff frequency without feedback divided by 1 plus A mid into beta, right? And hence I mentioned the lower cutoff frequency with feedback, it is less than lower cutoff frequency without feedback by a factor 1 by 1 plus A mid into beta, that is 1 by D. See, this term, that is 1 plus A mid into beta, that is nothing but desensitivity. So we can write this FLF equals to FL by capital D. Okay, so the lower cutoff frequency decreases by 1 by D factor, that is desensitivity. Now, one more point I would like to highlight. See, yesterday we derived this one, AF equals to A by 1 plus beta A. Here also you will observe the gain of that amplifier with negative feedback, it decreases by 1 by D. It is nothing but you can write the same equation as A by capital D, right now, because capital D, that is nothing but desensitivity, which equals to the reciprocal of sensitivity, this one, right? That is YS equals to 1 plus beta A. So the same formula, you can convert it like this, AF equals to A by capital D. Or in general, we can say the gain of that amplifier with negative feedback, it decreases by 1 by D factor. Okay, the same thing will going to happen with the low cutoff frequency. Once you will understood that graphical representation, just I mentioned that low cutoff frequency is less than lower cutoff frequency with negative feedback, it is less than without feedback, and by how much factor it is less than, that is 1 by D factor. Is it clear? This one is very simple. See, whenever you will understood what is the effect on various parameters, either increase or decrease, that will be by capital D or 1 by D factor respectively. If there is increase in something, that will be by D factor, that is desensitivity, that is nothing but 1 plus beta A times. There will be increase in that factor by negative feedback, and for few factors where it is required as some more decrease in that factor, then it will be 1 by D factor. Okay, so it will be somewhat easy to you for the understanding purpose. Now the effect of negative feedback on higher cutoff frequency side. As per that graphical representation, what we here, FHF, it is greater than FH. Yes or no? As per this graphical representation, higher cutoff frequency with negative feedback, it looks like greater than higher cutoff frequency without feedback. Okay, so just I told how much will be the change, or if I ask, just compare FH and FHF, how you can write it? So see, without that mathematical derivation part, I can say that FHF will equals to capital D times of FH, or 1 plus beta A times of FH. Agree? And the same thing you will observe. See, again, you have to follow through steps as a common. While looking towards lower cutoff frequency, which ratio we taken? We taken gain at low frequency divided by gain at midband. Okay. Similarly, for observing the effect at higher cutoff frequencies, you have to take that ratio as A high divided by A mid as it is. And one more small difference here, at the denominator, we written that term as 1 minus J FL by F. FL is nothing but lower cutoff frequency, and we are observing the effect on lower cutoff frequency. So in this case, that term is minus J times FL by F, but while studying higher cutoff frequency, You have to remember this one, minus jf by fh. It is not minus jfh by f. It is f by fh. Okay, and hence that a high, whenever you will rearrange, that a mid will be towards the RHS, so that will be a mid divided by 1 minus jf by fh as it is. Right? While studying that lower cutoff frequency, we consider here AF low. Now, as we are observing, as higher cutoff frequency to consider AF high. Okay, and already we written this equation at the start only. So AF high equals to A high divided by 1 plus beta A high, right? And again, what is that A high? So it will be divided by 1 minus JF by FH. And rearrange at the end, you will get that A high equals to A mid divided by 1 plus A mid into beta minus JF by FH. So you will observe somewhat similarity while doing this. See, AF low, we got A mid divided by 1 plus A mid into beta minus J FL by F. And while deriving for higher cutoff frequency, almost same equation, only there is that FH is at denominator. In case of lower cutoff frequency, it was at the numerator side. So such type of few tricks are there that you have to remember while deriving type of somewhat we can see the complex derivation. Okay. Again, same thing, dividing numerator and denominator. Same thing we done while studying the lower cutoff frequency. And at the end, you will observe we got this equation as AF high equals to AF mid divided by 1 minus J F by FH. F by FHF. Okay. What is FHF now? FHF is nothing. I take this one. See, this complete term. 1 plus beta A mid into FH. The denominator term. I consider it as FHF. So that FHF equals to A mid into FH. And from this equation only, we can justify, we can conclude that higher cutoff frequency with negative feedback, it is D times, capital D times greater than higher cutoff frequency without feedback. That means, what is the conclusion? The higher cutoff frequency increases by negative feedback, while lower cutoff frequency it gets decreased. And how much or by how much factor there is change in that higher cutoff frequency as well as lower cutoff frequency, that is either by capital D times or 1 by D times respectively. Is it clear? You have to prepare this derivation as it is. Okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now at the end, we'll see the effect of that negative feedback on bandwidth. Now it's very simple. Bandwidth is nothing but higher cutoff frequency minus lower cutoff frequency. If we are looking with feedback, then you just have to attach that F. So bandwidth with feedback equals to what I written FHF minus FLF. Right? And what is that FHF and what is FLF? We already derived these two equations in terms of that capital D factor. FHF is nothing but capital D times of FH. That means 1 plus A mid into beta times of FH. So just rewrite it as it is minus FLF. We observe that FLF equals to FL by 1 plus A mid into beta. Right? And the bandwidth without feedback is simply FH minus FL. So we observed here that FHF is greater than FH, FLF is less than FL, and hence again we can write FHF minus FLF. This term is difference between these two cutoff frequencies that will be much more great as compared to the FH minus FL. And at the end, now we can conclude the bandwidth with feedback, it is greater than the bandwidth without feedback, right? So see, from the first parameter and this one, that is bandwidth, in case of gain, what we observe, there is reduction in gain gets decreased. But what is the another advantage? Even if gain gets decreased, but the advantage of negative feedback looking towards this bandwidth is what? bandwidth gets increased. See, what is the significance of bandwidth or increase in bandwidth? While studying the frequency response, at that time also I might have explained it. See, whenever, suppose you have to use this amplifier circuit as a audio amplifier, okay? If you have notebook and pen, you can note it at your end also. If our requirement is what? Audio amplifier. Now the audio frequency range that you may be familiar with, that is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, right? So just imagine if the FL of that feedback amplifier amplifier without feedback, suppose this value FL is 50 hertz. Note down. If FL is 50 hertz, okay, and FH if it is 15 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz. Noted? Just imagine there is one amplifier which is working without any feedback, and if we plotted the frequency response curve of that amplifier, suppose we have that FL equals to 50 hertz, 50, right? And FH it is 15 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz, right? Now see, if we prefer this amplifier to amplify the audio signal, okay, that means our human being voice signal, if we have to amplify it, will it going to amplify satisfactorily? What do you think? See, whenever you will think on it, then and then you will get cleared about the significance of bandwidth, as well as the significance of lower cutoff frequency and higher cutoff frequency. What is significance of that cutoff frequency? By studying these two cutoff frequencies, we conclude that whatever the signal we have to amplify with a sufficient magnitude, sufficient gain, that signal frequency, it should lie in between FL and FH. If the signal frequency is less than FL of that amplifier, as well as if the signal frequency is greater than FH of that amplifier, looking towards this frequency response curve, what is the effect at low frequency? Below FL, gain is not sufficient. Again, the gain of that amplifier is not sufficient as low frequency as well as at high frequency side. Means we can say that amplifier circuit will not going on to amplify satisfactorily that applied input signal if its frequency is less than FL or greater than FH of that amplifier. Is it clear now? So shall we directly replace that amplifier circuit? No need. Okay. So see, as we consider the audio signal, its frequency is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That 20 hertz is somewhat less than FL of our considered amplifier. For our considered amplifier, how much is the FL? It is 50 hertz. And how much we are applying? Minimum frequency as just 20 hertz. That means whenever a particular person will have its frequency below 50 hertz, that amplifier circuit will not going on to work properly, or it will not going on to amplify his or her signal, that voice signal properly. Similarly, as we consider the FH of this amplifier as a 15 kilohertz, right? If someone else is there having his or her frequency, for example, 18 kilohertz, but our amplifier circuit can handle with maximum gain up to 15 kilohertz. Again, there will be somewhat attenuation in that amplification by that amplifier. Is it? What is the option? Next option is what? Shall we replace that amplifier circuit directly? No need. If we prefer the negative feedback in that amplifier, then gain will get somewhat reduced. No issue. That gain we can improve it. Voltage gain we can improve it. Okay. So see, if negative feedback is preferred, then looking towards this frequency response curve, what we understood that lower cutoff frequency it gets reduced. Now, if I use for the same condition, that means I want to amplify the audio signal, right? That lies between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That my previous amplifier was not good, I can say, because it can't, it have that FL somewhat more than that of the lower frequency range of our audio signal, as well as that previous amplifier circuit have somewhat low FH as compared to the maximum frequency range of our audio signal. Okay, and that's why I will do, I will just use the negative feedback in that amplifier circuit, and looking towards this frequency response curve, see that the red color traces that is related to which feedback. I will consider that FLF, suppose it is 10 hertz, because I know by using negative feedback, lower cutoff frequency gets reduced, right now, as per the derivation as well as this graphical representation. So initially that FL was 50 hertz. Now by using negative feedback, if it goes to 10 hertz only, okay. Similarly, initially without negative feedback or without feedback, that amplifier circuit have its higher cutoff frequency, that is FH, as 15 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz. By using negative feedback, by this graphical representation, I can say FHF, suppose it is 25K, right? Now see, if the same audio signal is applied, here we can say surely that audio signal, that means within 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, this amplifier circuit will going on to amplify that signal with sufficient gain, because its FL and its FH is properly managed. Properly managed means what? The FLF is 10 hertz. How much we are applying? Minimum 20 hertz. Similarly, FHF is 25 kilohertz. How much maximum we are applying? Only 20 kilohertz. So that signal, it completely lies between this 3 dB bandwidth of this feedback amplifier. So this is the significance. Is it clear? Is it clear now? What is the significance of lower cutoff frequency, higher cutoff frequency and bandwidth? Okay. Now one more point that you have to remember. If we done with and without feedback, and if we taken the product of gain and bandwidth, that means suppose for this green colored, this much is the gain. Okay. So that gain into the respective bandwidth, that product, it will remain same as that of, if negative feedback is used, that gain will get reduced, but bandwidth will get increased. So that you have to remember, gain bandwidth product, it always remains constant, but it remains same. And that's why I highlighted this line. Is it okay? Gain bandwidth product, it always remains constant with and without feedback. Is it clear? Shall we go ahead? Just let me know, yes or no. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, means you people are there. Okay. So we'll see the effect of negative feedback on the remaining parameters. Remaining parameters are there, like input and output impedances. Okay. Now you are already familiar. What is mean by input impedance? What is mean by output impedance? You already done that practical also. You determine RI and RO practically for the given amplifier circuit. Okay. So see, first of all, we discuss about the effect of the negative feedback on input impedance of that amplifier. Input impedance means what? It is the impedance looking from input side, right? And similarly, output impedance looking from output side. So simple. Now, at the input side of amplifier, what process we are doing? See, generally two processes we are doing in feedback amplifiers. One is mixing and another one is sampling. Okay. So where is the mixing process is done where? At the input side or output side of that amplifier? Mixer network is present at the input or output of that amplifier.
Input.
Input.
Yes, so be fast now. So see, we have to check the effect of negative feedback on input impedance. Okay, that means the impedance looking from input side of that amplifier, right? So we're going to observe the effect of that negative feedback whenever there is both type of mixings. Which type of mixings are there? Either series mixing or shunt mixing, right? So related to that, we're going on to discuss the effect of negative feedback if, first one I taken, if the feedback is in series with the input voltage source. Whenever that mixing is in series, the source signal should be voltage source. That you know now, right? So first consideration is what? Whenever there is series type of mixing. Okay. I shown two parameters as VF, VS, VI, II. Now hope so you are well familiar with all these. VS means it is the actual voltage source signal. II, that means the actual input current flowing at the input terminal of that amplifier. VF, it is the feedback signal which is 180-degree phase shifted as compared to VS. Okay, that means there is 180-degree phase shift between VS and VF. And VI, it is the actual available input signal. That is the difference between these two, right? During my previous lecture, already I highlighted how much will be VI. That VI is nothing but VS minus VF. That negative sign, it indicates there is a phase difference or 180-degree phase shift between these two signals. One is feedback signal coming from feedback network and another one is the original voltage source, that is VS. Okay, so that VI, it will be VS minus VF, right? Now we're going to discuss what will be the effect on that input impedance of that amplifier if there is series type of mixing. Okay, so I written few lines. If the feedback signal VF is added to the input in series, because we are considering series type of mixing, so the same thing I written with the input voltage signal source, that is VS, it increases the input impedance of that amplifier. That means what? For series type of mixing, what is the effect of negative feedback on the input impedance? It increases. Okay, that means, see, I highlighted at bottom, RIF is greater than RI. What does it mean by RIF? It is the input impedance looking from input side of that amplifier with negative feedback, and RI means it is without feedback. Okay. Now the reason I mentioned, because see in the second line, because as feedback is negative, that means this VF, it will going on to oppose the VS, as these two signals are phase shifted signal, 180-degree phase shifted. Okay. That's why we are calling the negative feedback, right? So it will going on to oppose VS. Due to that opposition to VS, there will be decrease in II. See, what is the source for current? This input current, voltage source. So if this VS will going on to oppose VS, or will going on to decrease, or will going on to will try to decrease that VS as it is 180-degree phase shifted, we can say there is decrease in II. Correct? Means as compared to without feedback. That means if VF is not there, that means if no feedback is there, the value of this II, and if negative feedback is used, then the value of II, will it remain same? No. As this VF will go on to oppose the VS, it will go on to decrease. Due to decrease in voltage, there will be decrease in current. Simple logic, right? Now, what is mean by that RIF? RIF is nothing but looking from input side, that is VS divided by II. R equals to V by I. Simple equation. Okay. So see, if this denominator term decreases, that means here we can say that RIF, it is inversely proportional to II. Correct? So if II decreases, RIF will get increased, and hence I return that RIF it is greater than RI. The value of this II without feedback, it will be somewhat more as compared to value of this II without feedback. It will be somewhat more as compared to with feedback. Because if there is no feedback, then this VF will not going on to oppose VS. And that's why that II will be more. Right? So remember, for series type mixing, the input impedance of that amplifier is greater than input impedance without feedback to the same amplifier. That means RIF is greater than RI. Now can you justify me at this stage how much times it will be greater than RI? Can anyone? Already I told during the starting of my lecture, today's lecture. Can anyone? I written here that RIF is greater than RI. Okay. But how much times it will be greater than RI? Can anyone apply the logic? No. Already I told whatever the change in parameter is there, it will be by capital D times. Yes or no? If there is increase in parameter, then it will be by capital D times. If there is a decrease in that parameter, it will be 1 by capital D times. So I can write the same parameter, that is RIF equals to 1 plus beta A times RI. Is it clear? RIF will be equals to capital D times of RI. Capital D is nothing but 1 plus beta A. Okay. Now, if there is shunt type of mixing, another type, we have to check the effect of negative feedback on the same parameter, that is input impedance. Whenever there was series type of mixing, we observed that input impedance gets increased. If there is shunt type of mixing, then RIF it will get decreased as compared to RI. Okay. Now the reason is also mentioned here. As feedback is negative, looking towards the input side, we can write that IS equals to II plus IF. Okay. Why I written this RHS as II plus IF? Just apply the KCL. The current coming at a particular node equals to outgoing current, right now. So I can write IS equals to II, that is the input current towards the amplifier circuit, coming towards that amplifier or at the input of that amplifier, and IF, as we know, it is a negative type of feedback. The direction of current, that is source current and the feedback current, it will be opposite. Remember this one. As there is negative of feedback, the direction of these two currents it should be opposite to each other. Okay. That's why we are calling it as a negative feedback or 180-degree phase shifted signals. And hence, by applying KCL, we can simply write IS equals to II plus IF. Okay. So as feedback is negative, IS equals to II plus IF, the current IS drawn from the signal source will get increased by negative feedback. That means if feedback is not there, right, the value of IS, and if feedback is there, the value of IS. Okay. As it is opposite in direction, we can, if there is negative feedback, more current will get drawn from this current source, input current source. Are you agree with this? Yes or no? Are you agree? If there is
Yes,
negative type of feedback, more current will get drawn from the current source because IS equals to II plus IF. See, if this IF is equals to 0, then simply we can say IS equals to II. But if it is non-zero, that means if there is a negative feedback, we can say IS will get increased. Right? Now the impedance, same. R equals V by I. Now which V applied input voltage divided by which current? The total input current, that is IF. So you will observe there is increase in IF by negative feedback. So if this denominator increases, we can say that IF will get decreased. and hence I highlighted it as RIF is less than RI. Okay, is it clear? So for series type of mixing, input impedance increases. For shunt type of mixing, input impedance decreases. You have to remember it. Okay, and in general, what we have to say, what is the effect of negative feedback on the input impedance of amplifier? In general, it is said that input impedance gets improved. Don't say increase. Improve means that will depend on which type of amplifier out of that four we are using. Okay, so if it is current amplifier, the input impedance it should be as low as possible. For voltage amplifier, input impedance should be as high as possible, right? So if series type of mixing is done, then that basic amplifier will be a voltage amplifier because the signal source will be voltage, right? By negative feedback, what we observe that RIF is greater than RI. Okay. Ideally, for voltage amplifier input impedance is infinite. Ideally, for current amplifier input impedance is zero. Already I told all these things during my one of previous lectures. Okay. So by using negative feedback or practically the input impedance of voltage amplifier it should be as high as possible. For current amplifier it should be as low as possible because we should achieve ideal cases, right? So by using negative feedback, what we observed if there is a series type of mixing, that means it will look like somewhat voltage amplifier, then input impedance increases. It gets improved. It should be as high as possible, right now. Similarly, if it is current amplifier, that means input signal source is current, that means there should be a shunt type of mixing, and what we check that RIF it gets decreased. Okay, so if it is current amplifier, logically its input impedance practically it should be as low as possible, and that we can decrease it by using negative feedback, right? That means RIF is less than RI. So see, just compare if it is voltage amplifier, if it is current amplifier. Then in both cases, at input impedance, we have to say in general, it gets improved, right? And you have to remember the same thing with the same manner. Don't say always gets increased, right? Increase in input impedance should occur, or it occurs whenever there is series type of mixing. Decrease in input impedance, which we are calling it as the improved input impedance, occurs when that amplifier is current amplifier. That means shunt type of mixing is there, right? And both are the, we can say the good signs. That means in general, we have to say the input impedance gets improved. Don't say only increases or don't say only decreases. Is it clear? And from the next lecture, we will see the effect of negative feedback on output impedance of that amplifier. Again, there are two types of sampling, right? Either voltage sampling or current sampling. Depending on that, what will be that basic amplifier, and at this stage, I will say the output impedance also gets improved by using negative feedback if there is voltage type of sampling as well as if there is current type of sampling, this one. Okay, so these things we will discuss in detail in the next lecture, and at the end we will discuss on this table also. Okay, this table you have to remember forever. Is it clear? So we will stop here because time is also over.